Rain fell in sharp, cold lines as Ethan hurried down the narrow street, his shoes splashing through puddles that shimmered under broken streetlights. He pulled his old jacket tighter, feeling the chill crawl down his neck. It had been a long night at work, and all he wanted was to reach his small apartment and fall asleep. But something about tonight felt strange. The air was heavy, quiet, too quiet. The usual hum of traffic was gone, and the city seemed to hold its breath. Ethan stopped at the corner, wiping rain from his eyes. That's when he saw it. A figure crouched near a dumpster. Shivering, at first he thought it was just a man down on his luck, maybe someone who'd had too much to drink. But as lightning flashed across the sky, the shape's skin glowed faintly blue. The figure turned its head, and Ethan caught a glimpse of eyes like liquid silver, reflecting the rain and light. His breath caught in his throat. "What the hell?" he whispered under his breath. The figure flinched at his voice and tried to move, but collapsed instead, a soft moan escaping its lips. "Please." Cole, the voice was soft, strange, almost musical. Ethan stood frozen, his heart racing. He looked around, expecting someone else to appear, maybe a prank or a movie shoot, but the street was empty. Slowly he stepped closer. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. His voice trembled as he knelt beside the creature. Up close, he could see it wasn't human. The skin was smooth like glass, thin lines of light running under it. The being's clothes were torn, covered in mud, and it trembled violently. Ethan hesitated, every instinct telling him to run, but then he noticed its hands. They were small, shaking, reaching weakly for help. He sighed. "I can't believe I'm doing this," he muttered, and took off his old jacket. "Here, take this." The creature blinked, confused. "For me?" Its voice echoed softly. Ethan nodded. "Yeah, for you. You'd look like you need it more than I do." He gently wrapped the jacket around the alien's shoulders. The glowing eyes widened in surprise, then softened. "You give warmth," it whispered. "Why?" Ethan chuckled nervously. "Because you're freezing, man, or whatever you are." The alien stared at him for a long moment before nodding slowly. "You will be remembered," it said. The word sent a strange shiver through Ethan's body. Remembered. "For what?" he asked, but before he could get an answer, the air around them began to hum. A bright blue light formed under the alien's body, lifting it slightly from the ground. Ethan stumbled back, shielding his eyes. "Wait! What's happening?" he shouted. The alien looked calm now, its face peaceful. "Home," it said softly. "You gave kindness. It will return." The light grew blinding, and with a loud crack of thunder, the creature vanished. Leaving only the wet jacket lying on the ground, Ethan stood frozen for several seconds, staring at the spot where it had been. Rain poured harder, washing away any trace of the strange event. He picked up his jacket. It was still warm, strangely dry despite the rain. "No one's gonna believe this," he whispered. Shaking his head, he walked home in silence, constantly looking over his shoulder. The rest of the night passed without sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those silver eyes staring back, whispering the same words, "You will be remembered." The next morning, Ethan told himself it was just stress, maybe exhaustion from too many late shifts. He tried to laugh it off, but the thought refused to leave. At work, while serving coffee, he kept glancing at the window, expecting something to appear. Weeks turned into months, and slowly, the memory began to fade. He got a better job, moved to a different part of the city, and tried to forget the night with the glowing stranger. But sometimes, when it rained, he felt the same heavy stillness in the air, as if someone or something was watching him. 10 years passed. Ethan was no longer the broke kid who gave away his jacket. He had a small repair shop, a quiet life, and a dog named Max, who followed him everywhere. Life was simple, peaceful even. Until one evening, as he closed his shop, the lights flickered. The dog began to bark wildly, staring at the sky. Ethan frowned and looked up. The night was clear, no clouds, but something moved between the stars, something massive. A faint hum filled the air, just like that night long ago. He froze, heart pounding. Then the air split open with a burst of light. and a glowing shape began to descend from the heavens. It wasn't falling, it was landing. The ground trembled slightly as a sleek, silver ship hovered silently above the street. The entire neighborhood came out, phones recording, people screaming. Ethan stood still, unable to breathe. The ship rotated slowly, and from its center, a beam of golden light spread out, scanning the ground until it stopped right on him. "Ethan of Earth," a deep voice echoed through the air, calm yet powerful. "Your kindness was not forgotten." Gasps filled the crowd. Ethan stepped back, eyes wide. "What? Who are you?" he shouted. The voice replied, "The one you helped, the lost prince of the Aurelians." The light around him intensified, and his dog barked louder, trying to pull him away. "You are summoned, friend of the royal line," the voice continued. "Your name is honored among the stars." Ethan tried to resist, but the warmth surrounded him, lifting him gently into the air. People screamed as he rose higher, his feet leaving the ground. "Wait, I didn't," he started to yell, but his voice was drowned by the hum of the ship. The light was warm, soothing, and strangely familiar. For a moment, he wasn't afraid. He thought about that night, the cold rain, the stranger's silver eyes, and the words, "You will be remembered." The next instant, the light swallowed him completely. The crowd stared, silent, as the ship turned slowly and disappeared into the clouds without a sound. Back on the ground, Ethan's jacket, the same one from 10 years ago, fell softly onto the wet street, untouched by rain. Glowing faintly in the moonlight, somewhere in the distance, thunder rolled again, gentle and slow, as if the universe itself remembered the night one man gave warmth to a stranger and changed his destiny forever. The world blurred into white light as Ethan felt himself pulled through the air. His heart pounded so fast it hurt. He tried to shout, but his voice was lost in the sound of wind and energy swirling around him. Then everything went silent, the light faded, and he realized he was standing on solid ground again. The air was warm, clean, and filled with a soft humming sound. He opened his eyes and gasped. He wasn't on Earth anymore. He stood in a long hallway made of shining glass and silver metal. The floor beneath him glowed faintly with each step, like it was alive through the transparent walls. He could see stars, thousands of them, shimmering like diamonds. In the distance, enormous golden ships moved gracefully through space. His breath caught. Where am I?" he whispered. His voice echoed softly. A door slid open ahead of him with a quiet hiss, and a tall figure walked in. The being's skin was pale blue, eyes bright silver, dressed in white armor lined with light. Ethan froze. The figure spoke in a calm voice. "Do not be afraid, you are safe." Ethan blinked. "Safe? You kidnapped me from my street." The alien tilted its head slightly. "You are not a prisoner, you are an honored guest." Ethan gave a short laugh. "Honored? That's one way to put it." The alien gestured for him to follow. "Please come. The High Council awaits." Ethan hesitated but walked behind him. The corridor stretched endlessly, filled with strange symbols glowing on the walls. He could hear faint whispers, voices speaking in a language he didn't understand. Finally, the corridor opened into a vast hall. It was beautiful, columns of crystal, floors that reflected like mirrors, and a giant window showing a blue planet below. In the center stood several tall beings, each dressed in robes of silver and gold. One stepped forward, his face familiar. Ethan stared in shock. "You," he whispered, "you're the one from that night." The alien smiled gently. "Yes, Ethan, it is I." His voice was soft but powerful. "You once gave me your warmth when I had nothing. You gave me kindness when my people had turned away. I have not forgotten." Ethan felt his mouth go dry. "You were homeless?" The prince nodded. "Banished," he said quietly. "My family was overthrown, our ships destroyed. I was lost on your planet for many years. Your act saved my life." Ethan stepped closer, disbelief written on his face. "You're telling me you're some kind of royal alien?" The prince's expression softened. "Yes, and because of you, I now stand here as king of my people." The other aliens bowed their heads slightly. "This ship, this world, would not exist without you." Ethan shook his head. "I just gave you a jacket. The prince's eyes glowed brighter. Sometimes, the smallest kindness changes the course of destiny. A faint hum filled the air, and the lights in the hall dimmed. The prince turned toward the great window. "Ethan of Earth, there is something I must show you." The window expanded, showing a huge fleet of shining ships orbiting the blue planet below. "This," the prince said, "is Auralia, our home." Ethan's eyes widened as he watched cities made of light stretch across continents. "It's beautiful," he murmured. The prince nodded. "But it is not safe yet. There are those who still wish to see me fall, and they know of you now." Ethan turned to him. "Me? Why would they care about me?" The prince's voice grew lower. "Because you are connected to me by the law of bond. In saving me, you became part of the royal lineage by right, and there are those who would use that to destroy us both." Ethan blinked. "Hold on. Are you saying aliens want to kill me because I gave you a coat 10 years ago?" The prince gave a sad smile. "The universe has strange laws." "Ethan," suddenly a loud alarm filled the hall. The ground trembled slightly. Blue lights flashed across the ceiling. Soldiers in armor rushed in. "Your Majesty!" one shouted. "The traitor fleets are approaching. They have found the royal vessel." The prince's expression hardened. "How did they find us so soon?" Ethan's heart raced. "Wait, traitor fleets? As in alien war?" The prince turned to him. "I am sorry, my friend. You are in danger now." He looked to his guards. "Take him to the vault chamber. Protect him at all costs." Before Ethan could protest, 2 guards grabbed his arms and guided him out. The hall filled with the sound of explosions echoing from outside. The floor vibrated as something massive struck the side of the ship. "What's happening?" Ethan yelled. "We are under attack," one guard said. "Stay calm." The corridor lights flickered and smoke filled the air. Ethan coughed. "Calm. You're being invaded." A blast tore open a wall ahead, sending sparks everywhere. Through the gap, Ethan could see space, ships firing beams of light at each other, massive engines glowing red. "This is insane," he shouted. The guards pushed him through another door that sealed shut behind them. The room inside was smaller, circular, with strange glowing symbols carved into the floor. "This chamber will protect you," one guard said. "No harm can enter here." Ethan shook his head. "What about you guys?" The guard smiled faintly. "Our duty is to protect the king." "And his friend." The door slammed shut as the sound of battle grew louder. Ethan pressed his ear against the wall, hearing distant screams and energy blasts. He closed his eyes, trying to steady his breathing. "This can't be real," he muttered. Suddenly, the symbols on the floor began to glow brighter. He stepped back. "Hey, what's happening now?" The air shimmered, and a small projection formed in front of him. It was the prince, his face serious. "Ethan," he said, "listen carefully. They want the heart of Auralia, a power source that keeps our world alive. It is hidden on Earth, where I once fell. They know you are the only one who can find it." Ethan stared, stunned. "Me? I don't even know what that is." The prince's image flickered. "You will remember when the time comes. Trust your heart. I will come for you." The hologram vanished, and the floor began to glow even brighter. The humming sound grew so loud it shook the room. Ethan shouted, "Wait! Don't leave me here." But before he could finish, light surrounded him again, and the world twisted out of view. He felt weightless, spinning through nothing, until suddenly he hit the ground hard. Ethan gasped and looked around. He was lying in the middle of his workshop back on Earth. Everything looked normal, silent, calm. The only difference was the faint blue glow still shining on his hands. Max barked at him, wagging his tail nervously. Ethan stood, still dazed. 10 years ago, I gave a stranger my jacket, he whispered. Now I'm supposed to save a planet. He looked up at the sky, and for a brief moment he thought he saw a faint flash of silver among the stars. The war had just begun, and somehow he was part of it. The night air was thick with silence as Ethan sat in his workshop, staring at his trembling hands that still glowed faint blue. He could hear his dog, Max, pacing restlessly beside him, growling softly at the shadows. "It's okay, boy," Ethan whispered, though his voice was shaking. "It's just us." But even as he said it, he knew that wasn't true. The prince's words echoed in his mind. They know you are the only one who can find it, the heart of Auralia. Whatever that was now his responsibility, and someone or something was coming for it. He tried to convince himself it was a dream, that the alien ship, the war, and the glowing symbols weren't real, but the burn mark on his arm, shaped like the same symbol that had appeared on his wall years ago, told him otherwise. What am I supposed to do now? He muttered. He walked to his desk, where strange metal shards lay, the ones that had fallen from the sky after the ship vanished. He had picked them up earlier without knowing why. Now they pulsed with the same blue light as his skin. Suddenly Max barked loudly and ran toward the door. Ethan froze. The sound of engines filled the air outside, deep, mechanical, not like any car he knew. He grabbed a wrench instinctively and peeked through the window. A dark shape hovered above his yard, a small craft, smooth and black, glowing faintly red underneath. "Oh no," he whispered. He backed away as a beam of red light cut through the air and hit the ground. Burning a circle in the dirt, a tall, thin alien stepped out, its armor dark as obsidian, eyes glowing crimson. Its voice was cold, metallic. "Ethan of Earth," it said. "By order of the Outer Syndicate, surrender the heart of Auralia." Ethan's breath caught. I don't have it," he stammered. The alien stepped closer, its head tilting slightly. "You lie. The royal prince has hidden it within your kind." "You will show us where?" Ethan gripped the wrench tighter. "I don't even know what you're talking about." The alien raised its arm, and a pulse of red energy struck the wall beside Ethan, shattering tools and glass. Max barked furiously, standing between Ethan and the invader. "Stand down!" the alien hissed. Its voice echoed like static. Ethan took a shaky breath. "You want the heart." "Fine, search me. You'll find nothing," he said. Trying to sound brave, the alien paused, studying him, then reached into a device on its arm, pressing a button. A projection of Ethan's face appeared, flickering with alien text. "Confirmed," the alien said. "He bears the mark." Before Ethan could react, the alien lunged forward, but Max jumped, biting its arm. The alien screamed, a sharp, metallic sound, and struck the dog away. "No!" Ethan shouted, rage overtaking fear. He swung the wrench with all his strength, hitting the alien's head. Sparks flew. The alien staggered back, smoke rising from its armor. Ethan grabbed Max and ran out the back door, not stopping to look back. The forest behind his workshop was dark, but it was his only chance. Branches whipped against his face as he ran through the trees. The sound of engines followed, red light scanning the ground around him. Come on," he whispered, holding Max close. Then his hand brushed against something in his pocket, one of the metal shards. It vibrated faintly, pulsing faster with every heartbeat. "What are you trying to tell me?" he muttered. Suddenly, the shard projected a small blue map into the air, showing a single glowing point deep in the mountains. Ethan stared in disbelief. "Is that the heart?" He didn't have time to think. A red beam scorched the ground beside him. The alien's voice roared from behind. "You cannot hide, human!" Ethan gritted his teeth and kept running. The map pulsed brighter the closer he got to the mountains. His lungs burned, but he didn't stop. Finally, he reached a narrow cave hidden behind a waterfall. The shard in his hand vibrated violently. "This must be it," he whispered. He stepped inside. The air suddenly warm and glowing faintly blue. Strange symbols covered the cave walls, the same ones he had seen on the alien ship. He felt something calling to him deep inside the rock. "Ethan," a voice whispered, soft and familiar. He froze. "Prince?" he called out. The voice echoed again. "Yes, you have found the gate. The heart lies within. You must awaken it." Ethan looked around in panic. "How? I don't even know what that means." The voice was fading. "Touch the symbol that burns brightest." He looked at the walls, searching until he found one symbol shining like a star. He hesitated, then placed his glowing hand on it. The ground trembled, and a beam of blue light shot up from the cave. Piercing the clouds above, outside, the alien stopped mid-step, staring up as the light grew stronger. "No! The heart awakens!" it screamed, rushing toward the cave. Inside, Ethan felt energy flooding through his body, his vision filled with stars. For a moment, he saw entire worlds, planets, cities, and the Auralian people bowing before the same glowing light. Then everything went still. Ethan collapsed, breathing hard. The blue glow around him dimmed. In the center of the cave, a small crystal hovered in the air, beating like a heart. It was beautiful, clear, and alive. He reached out, but before he could touch it, a blast of red light hit the ground beside him. The alien had arrived. Step away from the heart. It roared. Ethan turned, shielding his eyes. "You can't have it," he shouted. The alien raised its weapon again. But before it could fire, the crystal pulsed. A wave of blue energy surged outward, throwing the alien back. Its armor shattered, and it screamed before vanishing in a flash of light. Ethan stood frozen, staring at the glowing crystal that now floated quietly in front of him. "You protected me," he whispered. The crystal pulsed softly in response, almost like it understood. Outside, the storm cleared, and the stars shone brighter than before. Ethan picked up the heart carefully, feeling warmth spread through his fingers. He could hear the prince's voice again, faint but calm. "Well done, Ethan. You have awakened the heart. But others will come for it. Keep it safe." "I will return," Ethan nodded slowly. "Yeah, I'll keep it safe. I guess this is my mess now." He looked up through the opening in the cave, where a faint silver light moved among the stars. He smiled weakly. "You better hurry. Your friend here just made a lot of enemies." The heart glowed once more in his hands, and the adventure that began with a single act of kindness had now become the fight for an entire world. The morning light crept slowly into the cave, turning the glowing blue walls pale and soft. Ethan sat beside the floating crystal, the heart of Auralia, watching it pulse gently like a living thing. His hands still shook whenever he looked at it. He couldn't believe that something so small could cause a war across galaxies. Max sat beside him, ears perked, occasionally growling at the crystal as if it were alive. "Easy, boy," Ethan whispered. "It's not going to hurt us." But even as he said it, he wasn't sure he believed that. He had been awake all night, thinking about what the prince had said. "Keep it safe. I will return," but what did safe even mean? He couldn't hide from aliens forever. He needed a plan. As he stood, the crystal floated closer, glowing brighter. "You're trying to tell me something, aren't you?" he muttered. The crystal flickered. Then a holographic image appeared above it. An image of the prince. His face was calm, but his eyes were filled with worry. "Ethan," the projection said, "you are now linked to the heart. Its energy will protect you, but others will come. They will stop at nothing to take it." Ethan frowned. "I already met one of them, and I barely survived." The prince's image flickered. "You must move quickly. There are humans among the stars who will help you. Find the signal near the old radio towers. Activate it, and we will come for you." The message ended, leaving silence behind. Ethan sighed. "Old radio towers. That's 200 miles away." He rubbed his forehead. "Well, looks like we're going on a road trip." He placed the heart inside a metal case. Wrapping it carefully in cloth, the glow dimmed, but he could still feel the warmth through the metal. He loaded supplies into his old truck, water, fuel, and food, then placed Max in the passenger seat. "Let's go find ourselves a radio tower," he said, trying to sound confident as the engine roared to life. The cave's walls dimmed, and the blue glow faded behind him for hours. The road stretched endlessly through forests and empty highways. Ethan kept glancing at the sky, half expecting another ship to appear. "You know, Max," he said, "I used to think my life was boring." "Guess I was wrong," Max barked softly, wagging his tail. But as night fell, something strange began to happen. The radio started crackling, faint voices whispering in a language he didn't know. "Great," Ethan muttered, tapping the dashboard. "Now the aliens are on FM radio." Suddenly, the lights on the truck flickered and the engine stuttered. No, don't you die on me now," Ethan said, slamming the steering wheel. The truck stopped in the middle of a narrow mountain road. The forest around them was silent, too silent. Max started growling again, staring out the window. "What is it, boy?" Ethan whispered. Then he saw it, 2 red lights in the trees. Moving slowly, not again, he breathed. Grabbing his wrench, the red lights came closer until the shape of an alien soldier appeared, its armor black and burning faintly at the edges. It wasn't alone. 2 more emerged behind it. "Surrender the heart," one hissed. Ethan's pulse raced. "You guys never quit, do you?" He grabbed the metal case, clutching it tightly. "It's not here," he shouted, trying to stall them. One of the aliens raised its arm, and a beam of red energy shot past his head, burning a hole through the truck door. Max barked and leapt out the window, distracting them for a second. Ethan used the moment to roll under the truck and crawl toward the ditch. He grabbed a rock and threw it down the hill to create noise. One of the aliens turned, scanning the dark forest. "He moves west," it said. Ethan crouched behind a fallen tree. Breathing hard, he looked at the case in his hands. "If I stay, I die. If I run, they find me," he muttered. Then an idea hit him. He opened the case and whispered, "Hey, Magic Rock, if you're listening, now would be a good time to help." The crystal glowed faintly, and for a second, Ethan felt warmth spread through his arm. "Come on," he whispered, "please." Suddenly, the forest lit up with a pulse of blue light. The aliens stopped, shielding their eyes. "What is that?" one shouted. The light shot upward into the sky, forming a bright streak that vanished among the stars. Ethan stared, amazed. "You just sent up a flare, didn't you?" he said. The crystal dimmed again, but it kept humming softly. "I hope the right people saw that." The aliens recovered and turned toward him again. "You cannot escape. The heart's power betrays your position." Ethan looked around desperately. He spotted a narrow cave entrance behind some rocks. "Then I'll make you work for it," he growled and ran. Energy blasts tore through the trees as he dove inside the cave. Sparks rained from the walls. He crawled deeper, the sounds of pursuit echoing behind him. After several tense minutes, he reached an open chamber lit by strange crystals. The air here was warm, almost alive. He leaned against a wall, panting. "If I make it out of this, I'm buying a new life somewhere far, far away," he muttered. Suddenly the ground shook. A large alien, much taller than the others, stepped into the chamber. Its armor glowed deep crimson, and its voice was like thunder. "You cannot hide from the syndicate, human." Ethan froze. "And you must be the boss," he said. "Well, sorry to disappoint, but I'm not giving you anything." The alien raised its hand, red lightning crackling around its claws. "Then you will die with it." Before it could strike, a loud sound echoed from above, like thunder tearing through the air. The ground split, and a beam of silver light burst through the roof of the cave. The alien roared in pain, its armor melting away. Ethan shielded his eyes as a figure descended through the beam, tall, shining, wrapped in light. It was the prince. "Enough!" The prince's voice boomed. The cave trembled as blue energy swirled around him. The large alien tried to attack, but the prince raised his hand, and the creature was lifted off the ground. "You defy the royal line," the prince said coldly, "and you will pay the price." With a flash of light, the alien vanished, leaving behind only smoke. Ethan stared, eyes wide. "You took your time," he said. The prince smiled faintly. "You managed well for someone who calls me Magic Rock." Ethan laughed weakly. "Yeah, well, I didn't have a manual." The prince walked forward, his hand glowing. He touched the heart's casing and it opened, revealing the crystal shining brighter than ever. "You did more than I hoped, Ethan. The heart responds to you now." Ethan frowned. "So what happens next?" The prince looked toward the sky, where distant red flashes lit the clouds. "The syndicate knows the heart has awakened. The war begins now." Ethan stared at him, feeling both fear and determination. "Then I guess we'd better win it," he said. The prince nodded. "We will, together." As they stepped out of the cave, the night sky was filled with streaks of light, ships entering orbit. The first battle for the fate of 2 worlds had begun, and the man who once gave away his jacket was now standing beside a king from the stars, ready to fight for everything he never knew he was part of. The wind howled across the mountaintop as Ethan and the prince stood together, watching the night sky explode with flashes of red and blue. Alien warships glimmered like distant storms, streaks of light tearing through the darkness. The air trembled with energy. Max barked nervously, circling Ethan's legs. "They found us faster than you thought," Ethan said. His eyes fixed on the sky. The prince nodded grimly. "The Syndicate wastes no time. They will destroy anything that stands between them and the heart." Ethan looked down at the glowing crystal in his hands, its light pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. "Then we give them a fight they won't forget." The prince's eyes gleamed silver. "You would stand with me against an army?" Ethan gave a tired smile. "After everything that's happened, yeah. I think I'm past normal." The prince raised his hand, and a small device appeared. Hovering in the air, it opened like a flower, projecting a bright blue circle of light. "We will call the Aurelian fleet," he said. "But we must hold until they arrive." Ethan frowned. "Hold? You mean fight them here?" The prince met his eyes. "Yes, this place is sacred. The heart can only be awakened fully here. If we fall, both our worlds will die." A low hum filled the air, and Ethan turned to see shadows descending from the clouds. Dozens of Syndicate ships, sleek and black, forming a ring around the mountain. "They're surrounding us," Ethan whispered. "Exactly," the prince replied, his voice steady. "Then they cannot run when the storm comes." He closed his eyes, the markings on his arms lighting up like fire. "Ethan, when I say now, you must place the heart on the ground and trust it." Ethan hesitated. "Trust it to do what?" The prince opened his eyes. "To save you." The first blast struck the mountain, shaking the ground beneath them. Rocks tumbled down the slopes, and a red beam cut through the air. Hitting just a few feet away, Ethan grabbed Max and ducked. "They're trying to vaporize us!" he shouted. The prince raised his hand, creating a shimmering blue shield that blocked the next attack. "Not yet," he said quietly. "Now, Ethan." Ethan dropped the heart onto the ground. The moment it touched the stone, the air split open with a blinding blue light. A wave of energy burst outward, rippling across the mountain and throwing Syndicate soldiers off their feet. The light spread wider, forming a dome around Ethan and the prince. "What is this?" Ethan asked, squinting. The prince smiled faintly. "The heart recognizes you as its protector. It shields what it loves." Ethan's mouth twitched into a grin. "Guess it likes me then." But the Syndicate didn't stop. Ships hovered above the dome, firing beams of red energy into the shield, cracks forming in the glowing barrier. "They're breaking through!" Ethan shouted. The prince's face tightened. "We need to channel more power. Touch the heart, Ethan." Ethan reached out, placing his hand on the glowing crystal. The moment he did, light surged through his body, filling him with warmth and electricity. He gasped as the world seemed to slow around him. His eyes glowed blue, his mind flooded with strange visions. Stars, galaxies, memories that weren't his. He saw the Aurelian world before it fell, the prince as a child, and a great battle in the skies. A voice echoed inside his head. "You carry the heart of kindness. You are the bridge between worlds." The vision faded as the prince shouted, "Ethan, focus!" Ethan snapped back to reality and pressed harder on the heart. The dome flashed brighter, pushing the enemy beams back. Then with a loud crack, the shield exploded outward, sending a shockwave across the valley. The Syndicate ship spun out of control, several crashing into the mountain slopes. "That should buy us a few minutes," Ethan said, panting. The prince nodded. "Enough to summon them." He activated the device again, and a pillar of silver light shot upward, piercing the clouds. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the stars shifted, and massive shapes began to appear, Aurelian warships, elegant and radiant, emerging from the void like ghosts of light. "Reinforcements," Ethan whispered, awe in his voice. The prince smiled. "My people." But before they could celebrate, a shadow darker than all the rest emerged from the sky. A colossal ship, its hull black as night. Its presence made the air vibrate. The prince's expression changed to fear. "The Syndicate warlord," he said softly. "He has come himself," Ethan frowned. "That doesn't sound like good news." The massive ship descended slowly, its energy weapons glowing red-hot. A deep voice echoed across the sky. "Prince of Auralia, surrender the heart, or I will burn both your worlds to ash." The prince stepped forward. his voice firm. "You will never have it." The warlord laughed, the sound like thunder. "Then watch your protector die first." A blast of red energy shot down toward Ethan. Too fast to dodge, but before it hit, the prince threw himself in front of it. The explosion sent him flying back, crashing hard into the rocks. "No!" Ethan shouted, running to him. The prince coughed, blue light leaking from cracks in his armor. "Ethan, the heart must choose," he whispered. "Take it, finish what we began." Ethan shook his head. "I'm not leaving you." The ground shook as the warlord's ship charged another blast. The heart glowed brighter and brighter until it was blinding. "Ethan," the prince gasped. "You must merge with it, become its guardian. Only then can you end this." Ethan stared at the crystal, fear and confusion in his eyes. "Merge with it? You mean become part of it?" The prince nodded weakly. "Yes, only you can." Ethan hesitated for just a moment, then took a deep breath. "If this is what it takes, fine." He placed both hands on the heart. Light swallowed everything. He felt his body dissolve into energy, his heartbeat blending with the pulse of the crystal. He could feel every sound, every breath, every star in the sky. The heart spoke again inside his mind. "Human of Earth, you gave warmth without reason. Now give light without fear." The heart burst open, sending a beam of blue fire straight into the warlord's ship. The massive vessel cracked and burned, red lightning scattering into the clouds. The warlord screamed, his voice fading as his ship exploded in a storm of light. The shockwave spread across the night sky, clearing the clouds and leaving silence behind. When the light faded, Ethan was gone. Only the heart remained, floating above the prince. Glowing softly, the prince reached out, tears in his silver eyes. "He became one with it," he whispered. "He saved us all." The Aurelian fleet hovered silently above, their lights reflecting on the mountain. Max barked softly, sitting beside the prince. Tail low, as dawn broke, the first light of morning touched the heart. And for a moment it pulsed once more, almost like it was breathing. The war was over for now, but Ethan's spirit had become something greater, something eternal, watching over both Earth and Auralia from the stars above. The night sky was calm again, stars shining peacefully over the mountain where the great battle had ended. The ground still glowed faintly where the heart of Auralia had unleashed its power. Burning away the darkness, the prince stood in silence. His armor cracked and glowing weakly. Max sat beside him, whimpering softly, staring at the spot where Ethan had vanished. The world was quiet now, too quiet. The air carried the scent of smoke and metal, but also something else, peace. The prince closed his eyes and whispered, "You kept your promise." Ethan of Earth, the Auralian fleet descended from the clouds, their silver hulls reflecting the rising sun. Dozens of ships hovered silently above the mountain, each one flickered with blue light, saluting the prince and the heart that now floated in the air like a tiny star. "Your Majesty," one of the commanders spoke through a communicator, "the enemy has retreated. Their flagship is gone." The prince took a slow breath. "They are gone for now, but their hunger will return." "Prepare the fleets to guard both worlds," the voice replied. "And the heart, my lord?" The prince looked at it, his eyes soft. "It is no longer mine to command." He reached out, and the crystal glowed brighter. A faint voice echoed through the air, quiet but familiar. "You really thought I'd let you handle all this alone?" The prince froze, his breath catching. The voice grew clearer, filled with humor and warmth. "Miss me already?" It was Ethan. The heart pulsed like it was alive, forming a faint outline of his face in blue light. The prince stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Ethan, you live." The glowing figure smiled faintly. "Not exactly alive, not exactly gone. Guess you could say I've got a new address." The prince's lips curved into a smile. "You merged with the heart," Ethan nodded. "Yeah, and it's weird. Feels like I can see everything now. Stars, ships, even Max's tail wagging." Max barked loudly at the sound of his name. Ethan chuckled. "Hey, buddy, good to hear you too." The prince sighed in relief. "You sacrificed yourself to save both worlds. You are now one with our source of life." Ethan's tone softened. "Guess that makes me an honorary alien, huh?" The prince bowed his head slightly. "You are more than that, Ethan. You are the guardian of Aurelia and Earth, a bridge between our worlds." Ethan's glowing image flickered. "I don't feel like a hero, I just didn't want anyone else to get hurt." The prince nodded. "That is why you were chosen." But before they could say more, the mountain trembled, the light from the heart dimmed suddenly, and the sky flickered with strange shadows. "What's happening?" Ethan asked, his voice echoing through the light. The prince turned to the horizon. "The heart's energy is unstable. It merged with a human soul, something it has never done before." Ethan frowned. "You're saying I'm breaking it?" The prince shook his head. "Not breaking, changing. It will take time to balance." The ground split open, revealing veins of blue energy pulsing deep within. The prince raised his hand, trying to stabilize the heart. "Ethan, focus on me. Listen to my voice." Ethan's image flickered faster. "I can feel everything slipping. I can see your world, your people, the stars, but I can't hold it all at once." The prince's voice grew firm. "You must, Ethan. You are the only one who can." A blinding light filled the mountain as the heart pulsed violently. The Aurelian fleet pulled back, unsure what was happening. Lightning cracked across the sky, and then silence. The light faded, and the heart floated still again, glowing calm and steady. The prince exhaled. "It worked." Then a soft voice came from the light, quiet but peaceful. "Still here," Ethan said. But I think I need a vacation." The prince laughed softly. "You have become the heart's spirit now. Ethan, you will see through every world, touch every sky," Ethan's voice replied. "As long as I can still watch over Earth and you, I'm good." Weeks passed. The mountain became a sacred place for both humans and Aurelians. Scientists from Earth studied the strange blue energy, but never understood its true nature. They only knew one thing: the glow never faded. The Aurelians built a monument there, shaped like a rising flame, and named it the Guardian's Peak every year. They gathered under the stars to honor the human who changed their destiny. One night, the prince stood alone before the glowing monument. Max sat beside him, older now. His silver eyes reflected the light of the heart floating above. "The worlds are safe, Ethan," he said softly. "Your sacrifice gave us hope," the wind whispered faintly, carrying a familiar voice. "I told you I'd be watching." The prince smiled. "You never lied." As he turned to leave, the sky above shimmered, and a faint aurora appeared, blue and gold light dancing across the stars. The Aurelians looked up in wonder. For them, it was a sign that their guardian still lived, guiding them from beyond. The prince looked up one last time, his voice calm. "Good night, my friend." The wind carried Ethan's laughter across the mountain, light and warm. "See you among the stars." The night deepened, but the light over the mountain never faded again. Somewhere within that light, a human heart continued to beat, strong, brave, and eternal, watching over two worlds forever. The story of the man who once gave a jacket to a stranger had become legend, a tale told across galaxies, reminding every being, human or alien, that even the smallest act of kindness could light the darkest sky.